And we are back here on KFYO Mornings. Dave King, Matt Martin. I'm looking at the clock. It's 7:35. This is a Thursday. That means one thing. Yes, there on line one is your Car Pro. Good morning, Jerry Reynolds.
Good morning, fellas, and happy Labor Day weekend to you.
Well, you too.
That's right. We're off on Monday. That's exciting.
Me?
No, I'm off on Monday. I'm
Oh,
excited.
well, good for you.
Matt's off every day, actually. I'll tell you, Jerry, you're a good break in our programming this morning. Let me tell you, we're getting an HEB. HEB announced yesterday they're coming to Lubbock, and that's all our audiences wanted to talk about this morning. So,
Guys, HEB is a game changer. I mean,
are they?
Yeah.
I've got one in Granbury that was built probably 3 years ago, and I've got a lake house down there. And I got to tell you, I for the first time in my entire life, I enjoyed going there. It's just a cool place.
Oh, man, I know.
It's hard to describe.
And see, what's funny is everybody we ask, what does HEB have that you like? And for me, the first thing that popped in mind, anytime we go south, south of Lubbock, you can find an HEB. And when we saw an HEB, we stopped and went in and bought a case of plastic toothpicks because you can't buy them in Lubbock. and we've had, you wouldn't believe all the dozens of people who have texted us this morning and said, well, I like the jalapeno bacon, or I like this, or I like that. Anyway.
Yeah, fresh orange juice. For me, it's the people. I mean, HEB's got a very unique employment situation where everybody that works for them is a part owner of the company, and it makes a difference. I mean, their attitudes are just fantastic. I've never had a bad HEB experience.
Man, that's great. Well, we're looking forward to it. Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking here at a picture of your ride this week, a BMW convertible. Am I looking at the right picture?
I'm telling you, this is a nice car, fellas. I had this car back in early July in a hardtop, and now they have released it as a convertible as well. Very, very fast car, 533 horses.
Wow.
Wonderful exhaust system, and as typical with a BMW, the handling is just amazing. It's got all the safety features you could possibly want and more. In the interior, the seats, the way they've redesigned this car and the way it looks, especially from the rear, they did a big change to the rear. It looks like a longer car the way it's configured. It's got big 20-inch wheels, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. And this is a heavy car. This car weighs well over 4,000 pounds. So, when those twin turbos kick in, this thing will just squat down and go. It is all-wheel drive, but when you're driving it, you can tell it's weighted toward rear-wheel drive when you're driving it normally. You can tell that just by the acceleration and the fact that it's so balanced, and the front wheels, the steering wheel doesn't move left or right when you really shower down on it. But a real enjoyable car. It's pricey. It's a BMW. It's $130,000. Completely loaded the way it is. The top works super fast, and you can put the top up or down. It speeds up to 30 miles an hour, and that's kind of cool too. That tells you how sturdy that top is. It's technically a 4-seater, but I got to tell you, you're not going to put anybody in the back seat of this car. Great place for your briefcase or something, but certainly not for passengers. But it's a joy to drive. I've enjoyed it. I've put the top down a couple of times. We had a cooler day on Tuesday here in DFW, and put the top down. The car's just a real joy. It's obviously not for everybody at that price, but if somebody's looking in that price point, this is a good one to look at.
Yeah, and wants a convertible.
Yeah.
And doesn't have 4 kids.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, this thing. And the way this is a great car for tall people. It's not that it's got an exorbitant amount of headroom, but the seat travel, when if you want to put that seat all the way to the back, if you're really tall, you'd have a lot of leg room in this car. But it's a 2-seater. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Hey, Jerry, I was looking through Facebook this morning, so you know that this has to be true, okay?
Oh, of course.
I came across a picture that was an aerial shot of a huge lot that was full of cars. Well, actually, I think the story said there are thousands of unsold 2018, I believe is what it said, SUVs that they're selling for pennies on the dollar. Is there any truth to this?
Absolutely not. And I know the picture you're talking about exactly.
Okay.
If you go to Snopes.com, you'll see that this was a picture from years and years ago, not even in the United States. I mean, there are a handful of 2018s still out there, but I got to tell you, they're pretty much all gone. And everybody's concentrating on the 2019s because there's a lot of 2020 models that are out there right now and coming out, and we'll see a lot more in the next couple of months. But that is one of the things I wrote about this week, and you can find this article on CarProUSA.com about the big Labor Day sales. And, guys, I got to tell you something. I've been doing this a long time. I have never, ever seen incentives from the factory the size they are now. I mean, they're and I think what's most interesting to me is car companies that typically don't get into the incentive game. The first one that comes to mind is Honda. I mean, they just hate to do incentives. They have never even done 0%, believe it or not, in all these years. They're big into it, at least through Tuesday for Labor Day sales. Mazda is another company that's big, that is just never into incentives. And they've got their Mazda 3, which is a great little car. You can get up to $4,500 cash back. The number one selling vehicle in America for 42 straight years is the F-150 in Texas. There's rebates on that truck, on the XLT, their most popular model, $8,750 in rebates. That's before you start talking discounts.
Okay, now tell me something, Jerry. I may be in the market to trade in my Highlander.
Yeah.
What are we looking at there?
It's good. If you want a 2019, because the 2020 is redesigned, and we'll see it later this year. But primarily, in Toyota's, when they do incentives other than Tundra, pretty much they put all their money into leasing, which wouldn't work for you most likely as long as you like to keep a car. But there is, I think there's $2,500 rebate on Highlander, which that's a really big number for Highlander.
What was window sticker on one? Ballpark? You have any idea?
A nicely equipped one, not overloaded, is in the upper 30s, 38, 39, somewhere in there, and that's a good price point for SUVs.
Well, mine has over 100,000 miles on it. It's picked up a little bit of motor noise, a little click in the motor that didn't used to be there. And, it may be time to trade it in.
It might be time to look. Highlander's an excellent SUV. It's a great buy. And it's got one of the roomiest third-row seats you can get out there.
Yeah. And, it's not as big as the Tahoe, but it's a lot bigger than most of your SUVs. That's what I like about it.
Well,
it's a V6 and gets pretty good gas mileage.
I was going to say trade-in value, and even buying used, you might not even be able to get a good price on a used one there, because those things hold their value very well.
You got to check. I mean, if you're looking at a late model used one, a new one is not going to be very far away. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, Jerry, it's good to talk to you. As always, you're always interesting. Got some very good information this morning. And you want to remind everybody that you appear locally and live here on every Saturday on this radio station, KFYO, with your Car Pro show. And for more information about the Car Pro, you can go to CarProUSA.com.
Fellas, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
You too.